Hey everybody. It's been it's been something that's been very big on the internet, but um, I'm looking at folks in Australia. They're protesting against illegal immigration. Like they're tired of illegal immigrants coming into the country. They're tired of the whole immigration system, and you know, I don't see a problem with that. And it's so crazy that you have some of these. I don't know if they're liberals or what, but you have folks that are sitting up. And I was looking at one protester, sort of a another protester. He was somebody on the other side of the argument, but there was another person that was sitting up and saying, "Oh well, you know, this is racism and all this other stuff." And it's many protesters that are saying that on the other side of the argument. And the question I have for these folks is, these are the same people where if you said to these folks, you know what, all of these illegal immigrants that are coming into the country, why don't you let them stay at your house or your apartment? They would say, oh no, that would be dangerous. And so it's just like it amazes me that people can hold up signs. And again, everybody has the right to express themselves, but for folks to see the protesters in Australia and for folks at the protest to say, you know what, these people are racist. I don't see how the protest in Australia, I don't see how it's, something where people are being racist or people hate, you know, people of different, backgrounds and stuff like that. No, it's people are tired of illegal immigration. And a lot of those folks protesting, they don't care what color your skin is. They're looking at it from the standpoint of, they're working hard, they're having to worry about their health care and their benefits and housing and food and all this other stuff. And they're saying to themselves, like, why should somebody just be able to show up in Australia and, the welcome mat is rolled out for them? And for me, I don't see anything wrong with that. And so it's just amazing that people are looking at this thing. Some people, I'm not saying all, but you have some folks where they're like, oh, well, this is racism. And I mean, I was even on TikTok and one person was like, this is racism. And these folks are racist and they're horrible people who are protesting, at these protests. And I'm like, no, these are folks where they are tired of illegal immigration. And I don't blame them. I don't blame them. And if you look at America, that is one of the reasons why Donald Trump got elected. One of the reasons why Donald Trump got elected is because folks said, you know what, enough is enough. They're looking at, just illegal immigrants come over the border and, they're given services and food and transportation. And for anybody that's out here working hard or, doing the right thing, yeah, folks are going to feel a certain way. And so I would just say to anybody who's looking at the protests in Australia, no, I don't see, a bunch of racists. I see folks that are standing up for their country. And again, the same people who are so against, oh, these people are, bad people and this and that who are out here and these folks, it's just like the same old liberal arguments. What the liberals always use, or people who are, with a liberal mind, a lot of them always use the racism argument. And so when something, they can't argue because something makes common sense, they always have to bring up racism. And, when I looked at the protests in Australia and some of the folks they were interviewing, the counter protesters, I'm like, I knew what angle they were going to come at. I knew that they were going to pull from the whole this is racism playbook. And a lot of those folks who say that would be the first people where if they saw a black person, they would probably, clutch their purse. Some of the women out there that are so, oh, well, this is, nobody's illegal. Those are the same women that would clutch their purse if they saw a black person. And same thing with the men. Some of those men that are out there, who are so pro, nobody's illegal, nobody's an illegal immigrant and all this other mess they chant. If they saw a black person at night or in the daytime, they would sit up and, they probably put their hands in their pocket to protect their wallet. And so, a lot of these folks with this whole, nobody's illegal thing, and people are just trying to better their lives and all this other stuff. A lot of those are the same people that are hypocrites, and they go out there, they make all these excuses for illegal immigrants, and you know, legal immigration, first of all, is against the law. Like, I can't just show up to Australia as an American and then expect not to be arrested and expect people not to be offended by me being there and expect people to just be like, yeah, you want some food, you want free transportation. Like, that would be ridiculous if, for any person who's just coming into any country to think that people are supposed to roll out the welcome mat. And, the crazy thing is, and I know I'm talking about a different place, but I was looking at the United Kingdom, and, they're putting folks up in luxury hotels. They're putting people up in luxury hotels, regular hotels. I mean, hotels that, poor people can't even get into. And it's just like, you can just show up and, you can just have a hotel waiting for you and transportation services. And I don't care what anybody says, but all of this stuff is planned. Even though the politicians act like, oh, I don't know how this happened, and let me look into it. Oh, I don't know how 10,000 people crossed the border or got here. No, a lot of these politicians, this is all a part of the plan. They won't tell you that, but no, they're using these folks for cheap labor and everything else. And so they do the same sort of tactic in America, where some of these liberals will say, oh, well, that's shocking when the statistics are shown or there's a congressional hearing. Oh, well, I didn't know that was going on. It's like, no, you guys have better intelligence and better, updates and briefings than most American people do. And so they know what's going on. And same thing with Australia. They know exactly what's going on. The politicians and the leaders and the people who have money like to use cheap labor, and they don't care however they have to get that cheap labor. That's what they're going to do. What they don't realize is that folks are waking up. People have, information on the internet now, and they can't keep on running the same playbook that they've been running for years. And so I'm proud of people in Australia protesting peacefully against illegal immigration. I think it's, I don't care what race you are, it's common sense. Like, nobody's going to just sit back and just let, folks from other countries just show up and, do what they want to do. The first thing is breaking the law, and second, it's just not right. And so, again, people are protesting in Australia against illegal immigration. I don't look at them as racist. I look at them as, people standing up for their country. And you would think that, some of the leaders would be, standing up for the country too and cracking down on illegal immigrants, but, they don't care. So, again, the tide is turning, and folks are waking up. That's the power of the internet. That's the power of people speaking out. That's the power of podcasts and all these other things. That's why, you go to some of these places, these countries and different things like that. You have politicians in Australia that want to censor free speech on the internet because people are waking up. And so, again, let me know how you feel about the protests in Australia. And again, I don't think the folks are racist. I think anyone protesting against illegal immigration is on the correct side of history. So in the comment section, let me know how you feel. And then also, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you.